Former Deputy Premier and representative of the Chalk Sound and Five Keys constituency, the Honorable Lillian Boyce, has finally broken her silence once again since her last press release declaring her acceptance for investigations into former ministers. The outspoken MP for Five Keys this time has taken aim at the present government and the governor's recent decision to slash civil servant salaries, stating that, quote, "You can't be cutting people's salaries and allowances and sending them home without taking into account what impact this is going to have on their livelihood." End quote. Boyce also spoke on the crumbling job force, stating that the governor and the British government must revitalize the job market in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Honorable Boyce said in an early morning press statement to our News 4 studios that she is calling on the governor, the private sector, and the current government to protect jobs of the Turks and Caicos Islands. The release states that, quote, "In this recession, you must have a heart and social conscience. You must at least be able to identify with what people are going through and try to make their situations better, not worse. The reality of this situation is that we're only going to get out of this recession if people in the Turks and Caicos Islands are working and they have money to spend." End quote. The former deputy premier says she is overwhelmingly concerned with the amount of cutting and chopping of jobs taking place in the Turks and Caicos Islands. The release states that Honorable Boyce is extremely worried about reports of forecasted job cuts when the order in council is implemented and Britain imposes direct rule. Quote, "U.S. and Britain are going to impose on us and other Caribbean countries, so we have to look at other areas and avenues for employment, wealth creation, and diversifying the economy, such as the manufacturing and agriculture sectors, as well as other areas in science and technology and the service sector. We're hearing so much about cutting and reduction of allowances these days, but what about the impact that these cuts are having on people and their families? What's going to happen when people can't afford to feed their families, pay their utilities, mortgages, rent, send their children to school, pay their medical bills, or do some other basic things?" Boyce called on the relevant authorities to create and implement creative and urgent initiatives and strategies that will diversify the economy and significantly increase the country's revenue. Quote, "I really believe that with the right ideas and the right approaches, the Turks and Caicos Islands can emerge from this worldwide recession faster than any other countries in the Caribbean region and the rest of the world. But hurting people by cutting their jobs, salaries, and allowances is not and must not be the only answer." Boyce said that Turks and Caicos Islanders could no longer rely on tourism, fishing, and construction as the country is growing. Honorable Boyce was one of many ministers who were questioned during the Commission of Inquiry amidst corruption allegations. Boyce is a former Minister of Education, Health, and Immigration. For WIV4 News, I'm Angie Toussaint.